Hello dear students of second prep science. Let's go to start our episode today as we have to talk about the graduation of the elements properties in the model periodic table, and we have the second part of this lesson as we have to talk about the chemical reactions of elements of metals and non-metals elements with oxygen or with hydrochloric acid, and we have to know the results in each chemical reaction. Let's go start with the first part in our lesson today as we have to talk about the chemical properties of the metal during the chemical reactions. زي ما احنا شايفين قدامنا دلوقتي we have chemical properties of metals as we have the chemical reaction of metals with number 1 diluted acids, and number 2 we have with oxygen, and number 3 we have with water. So here we have number 1, we have to deal with the reaction of what? Of metals as we have here with diluted acids, and number 2 we have to deal with the reaction of metals with oxygen, and number 3 we have to know the reaction of metals with water. So we have to study number 1, reaction of metals with diluted acid. Number 1 we have here, as we see, we have number 1 here we have magnesium. Okay. Number 2 we have hydrochloric acid. Okay. So they will produce what? As we have here زي ما احنا هنشوف هنا magnesium chloride plus hydrogen gas. So magnesium is more active than what? Than hydrogen in the chemical activity series, and we will study it after a while. So magnesium replace hydrogen دخل مكانه, and we have hydrogen gas here evolve. So we have magnesium chloride from the products of this reaction, magnesium chloride, and what here we have hydrogen gas evolves. عندنا كده hydrogen أو hydrogen gas evolve as effervescence. Effervescence. So effervescence here, which means فوران. So if we have to write give reason for زي ما احنا هنشوف دلوقتي مع بعض, give reason for appearance of effervescence on adding magnesium with hydrochloric acid. How can we answer this question as a give reason for? زي ما احنا شايفين قدامنا هقول له the answer we can answer by chemical equation. ممكن نجاوب ال give reason or what happens. ممكن يقول لي what happens when you add magnesium to hydrochloric acid. So we will answer by using the chemical equation. But not only the chemical equation, we should write below the chemical formula the what here. As you see, magnesium, we write magnesium, hydrochloric acid as hydrochloric acid, here magnesium chloride, here magnesium chloride, and here we write hydrogen as effervescence أو فوران. So we deal with the first part as we have the reaction between magnesium or metal with hydrochloric acid. And here we have to write the reaction between metal with what? With oxygen, as we have, as we studied before in first prep. خدناها في أولى إعدادي قبل كده. Magnesium with what? With oxygen. طبعا by heating or burning. Here we have a triangle which means burning. Magnesium will combine with oxygen as the atmospheric oxygen, producing what? Producing, yes, magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide. So we have here magnesium with oxygen producing magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide, we can talk about this compound as magnesium oxide is called what? زي ما احنا هنشوف دلوقتي مع بعض على المونيتور. Magnesium oxide is what? Is alkali solution or basic oxide. يعني هنا هكتبها مع بعض. magnesium oxide is what is basic oxide. is what نكتبها تاني basic oxide. اوكي basic oxide. why بقى give reason for هنقولها هنا. why magnesium oxide or metal oxide is basic oxide. هقول له because its solution its what its solution change litmus paper into what into yes يعني alkali solution as basic oxide solution يعني with water. okay turns litmus paper into blue as we studied before in first prep. okay next one is the reaction of metal with water as we have here. magnesium oxide with what with water. here we have the reaction of water or reaction of metals with water. it depends on the position of metals in the chemical activity series. we have here chemical activity series. what is meant by chemical activity series؟ كلمة series معناها متسلسلة و chemical activity which means نشاط كيميائي. so what is meant by chemical activity series؟ معناها ايه؟ اقول له arrange of metals of what? of metals in descending order. according to their chemical activity or activities. so we arrange metals again. we arrange what? metals in what? in descending order يعني from the most active to the least active metal. what? according to what? their chemical activity. so we talk about what here? we talk about the chemical activity series. so each metal has its reaction with water as we have here. for example, number one, potassium and sodium react instantly with water يعني لحظيا with water as we studied before in first prep. again أخدناها قبل كده in first prep. we have sodium react with water fastly producing hydrogen gas that burn with pop sound as we have here. for example, sodium Na نكتبها مع بعض اهو. sodium Na plus H2O. we know hydrogen is more active than sodium is more active than hydrogen. so sodium replace hydrogen producing what? producing here sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas evolves. so hydrogen gas burn with what? with pop sound بيفرقع. so we keep sodium and potassium تمام not in open air or under kerosene. why? or paraffin because sodium and potassium react instantly with water. next one is what? next one is as you see we have calcium and we have magnesium. both react what? react with cold water. they can react with cold water. and here we have what? we have zinc and iron. they react with hot water or water vapor اللي هو بخار الميه as iron react with water forming iron rust اللي هو صدى الحديد مثلا. and the last point here, copper and silver اللي هو النحاس والفضة don't react with water, so they are inactive metals. So we have زي ما احنا شايفين a range of metals in what? In descending order, يعني from the most active to the least one, من الأكبر للأصغر, in descending order according to their chemical activity. According to their chemical activity. يبقى احنا خدنا مع بعض the chemical activity series, and we know a range of metals in descending order according to their chemical activity. And we know now the table illustrate the chemical activity series. Next one here we have the reaction of non-metals with oxygen. The first equation is what? First equation is the reaction of metals with non-metals with oxygen, as we have here carbon اللي هو الفحم. Carbon with what? With oxygen. Carbon, which means coal اللي هو الفحم, with oxygen, producing what? Producing carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide is non-metal oxide. خلي بالنا بس عايز ارجع لورا تاني كده اهو. We have here magnesium oxide is basic oxide, okay, but here we have carbon dioxide is an acidic oxide. Okay, dear students, let's go to take just little break and then we will return back again. Welcome back, dear students. Let's go to complete our episode today, as we have to differentiate between metal and non-metal oxide. Metal oxide is called basic oxide or alkali oxide, as we have the acidic oxide as non-metal oxide. We have to differentiate between them. Metal oxide solution, change litmus paper into blue, and acidic oxide or non-metal solution, change litmus paper into red. We have to differentiate according to the solution of oxide, metal oxide and non-metal oxide. We have here, as you see, the last point in our episode today. We have carbon with oxygen producing carbon dioxide, as you see here, carbon dioxide as acidic oxide, and turns litmus paper into red. Into what? Red, because carbon dioxide is non-metal oxide or what? Or acidic oxide. Or what? Acidic oxide. يبقى non-metal oxide is an acidic oxide. Okay. Write the scientific term. آخر جزء معانا, as we have questions. Write the scientific term. Number one, they are the elements which have the properties of both metals and non-metals. Both metals and non-metals. As we have in the model periodic table, these metals are called metalloids. Metalloids has the properties of both what? Metals and non-metals at the same time. Like, for example, silicon. Next question is, it is the measuring unit of the atomic size of the element. What? Again, it is the measuring unit of the atomic size of the element. We have here picometer. Okay. Next question is scientific term. It is the ability, what? It is the ability of, here, the atom to attract what? Shed electrons of the bond toward itself. It is the ability of the atom to attract the electron toward itself. It is called what? Yes, electronegativity. Electronegativity. Okay. Number 4, covalent compound in which the difference in the electronegativity between element or elements is what? Is high. We talk about a compound like water. This compound is called what? Is called polar compound. So we have polar compound. The difference in electronegativity between elements is what? Is high. and we have non-polar compounds, the difference in electronegativity between elements is what? Is low. So we can differentiate now between polar and the non-polar compound according to the difference in electronegativity between elements. Okay, dear students, this point is the last part in our episode today. We have finished now lesson 2, as we have to talk about the graduation of the elements properties in the model periodic table. After this episode, we have just little break, and we will complete with a new episode of third prep science first term, as we have to complete lesson 2 as acceleration. Thank you. See you. Goodbye.